Hey guys, Ranch and Anouk here yet again, bringing you the second set in the Pro League Grand Finals 2009-2010 season. Almost at an end, just a few games off, and we have Stats versus Bisu, and Bisu has a tattoo on his face. It says T1, and all the girls are either swooning or thinking, oh my god, don't do that magnificent face of yours with something as dirty as a stick-on tattoo that just washes off with some soapy water.
I wish it was permanent.
Some might. Maybe he has somewhere like on his body, like on his right butt cheek or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I just gave you a bad image in your head.
Oh god, yeah.
But yeah, KT, I'm sorry, what the hell am I saying? KT 1-0 ahead, so nice, partially lucky win, I guess you could say. With Cheese, it's always a little bit of luck, because if Violet hadn't spotted it when he did, you know, he would have been kind of screwed. But this one, I gotta put a little bit more into Bisu's favor. He's, since his revival, been showing great stuff, and PvP was always just, I think in the last year and a half, since winning, the Club de MSL in 08, I think he became just an absolute master of the matchup. And despite him, you know, not maybe being at his best anymore, still quite good at what he does. So this is on Polaris Rhapsody. Before I hand it off to Nuke, going to get colors and positions on the way just to make sure. Upper left-hand position representing Mustard, going to be Stats. Lower right-hand position representing Ketchup is going to be Bisu.
Yes, Bisu has always been a very, very good Protoss versus Protoss player. Usually when I think back on his games, those are the games that I remember, his Protoss versus Protoss, just because, like you said, he just has such an intense understanding of this matchup. His reinforcements always seem to arrive at the right time. So Stats does have an uphill battle going up against Bisu, because Bisu is playing good now. He's out of his slump. He was in a slump at one point, not playing very good, but he is back, not up to the level he was during the Club Day MSL, but he is back playing good games, and that's what you need for the Pro League. Just a solid, good game against a very good matchup, and I think this is one of his best matchups, PvP. But this is a two-player map, and both players are not going to go for Cheese this time around. I'm very glad that we got to see an opening with Cheese, just because it wouldn't be the same Pro League. It wouldn't be a finals if you didn't open with Cheese. Like every finals, you see players open with Cheese. But yes, I'd say one of the most memorable games. White people! Sorry. I think one of the most memorable games on this map, Polaris Rhapsody, was, well, there are a couple of them between Bisu and Pure. And Pure, now everyone calls the bridge in the middle Pure's bridge, because he completely and utterly failed on that against Bisu. I'm pretty sure it was Bisu. And got caught on the bridge, and it was bad times for Pure and We Made Fox. So hopefully, I'm guessing that Bisu is going to try to get that to happen again. If he takes the middle, if either player takes the middle, it's going to be much easier to get that kind of pincer attack on a player trying to make their way to the middle. So I think both are going to go for that similar strategy.
Just looking forward to see what basically we see the players focus on this match, because PvP has evolved a lot in the last year, even, I would say. You have a lot more Templar play, Archon play, which like 2 years ago was like unseen. If you're not going for Mass Goons and Reavers, I was like, what the hell are you doing? Exactly. So it does look like we're going to just start with standard openings, Gateway, Cybernetic Core, probably going to follow it. Just from this, we're going to see what either player goes for. Are we going to see a second gate? Are we going to see a robotics facility right after the core? Are we going to see some Zealots coming out first? Are we going to see Master Goons? Is Bisu going to put down a pylon to be annoying? You know, it's these little things. Yeah. Zealot out there for Stats, though, to make sure that that doesn't, you know, become too bad. And the opposite side do see the same thing. So I think just from the starts, we might see, since both players have pretty much the scouts in there, probably going to see a very standard game, nothing too crazy, and they're always focusing on yellow because
trying
he's
to get him to
so
dance again.
Awesome. Yeah, that dance is truly maybe not quite up there with Firebat Hero, but you know, still pretty awesome.
Yeah, so both players are looking for an opportunity to get a Manor Pylon on, but once you get so many probes out, it's a little bit difficult to do that. Bunky! There's the mascot. And I do have a Bunky doll at work. It sits on my desk and stares at me, and it's very, very creepy, and it creeps out everyone around me. But yes, the full-size Bunky, much, much creepier. They've even changed the Bunky so he has bigger eyes, and it's just weird. But oh man, it looks like the Cybernetics core was spinning for Stats, but he canceled that as Bisu his probe went out, so he canceled that. So this is interesting. He was making Bisu think that he was going for Dragoon range, but most likely he was upgrading a +1 attack, which is usually what you do when you're faking Dragoon range, since it costs fewer minerals. But this is very interesting. Oh, stats, he's going to go for an expansion, going to try to fake Bisu out. This is fantastic. And Bisu is going for the Citadel of Adun, so he's going to go straight for Dark Templar. And this could be very tight for Stats, because if Stats does not put down his robotics facility and his observatory as quickly as he possibly can, he's going to be dealing with Dark Templar, killing his probes one by one. But here comes the robotics facility, so hopefully, after the robotics facility, he throws down the observatory. Of course, it is a very fast warping building. There's the Templar archives, so Bisu will have Dark Templar on the way soon, so it's going to all depend on how quickly that observatory comes down. I mean, if Stats is thinking, maybe I'm going to go for a Reaver harassment game, and he throws down the robotics support bay first, this could be very bad for him, especially expanding like this. He could lose a lot of probes. But, oh boy, this is going to be very exciting.
Bisul's adding in a forge, interestingly enough, and on the opposite side, we do see apparently range being upgraded anyway for Stats. So he's trying to do a bit of a fake, but still going to go for range, adding in a second gateway, so he's going to be able to produce some troops. And really, hopefully for him, he's going to go for the observatory, but otherwise he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Bisu just making sure he can deny the scout, knows he needs to get those 2 DTs out there, try to do some damage early on. Even if there is an observer out there in time, there is the observatory right there, so there will be observers out there in time. Even for this, Bisu still might get it done, because DTs, don't forget, are very heavily powerful units. They do a lot of damage, and they do have some support. As long as Bisu goes out there for a large attack, gets his Dragoons, gets his Zealots out there, because right now he only has 1 DT milling around, maybe hoping to get some damage done with this. We're just going to see how this plays out, because I wouldn't call it game over right now just because Bisu is going out with that DT. He's also going to expand back in his base. Nice block here by Stats, so he might actually completely deny this entire thing, might lose a Goon or take some damage to a Goon. 2 DTs running out there for Bisu, so this might get it completely snuffed out, so he's unlucky in that. But I wouldn't call this game over right here and then, because Bisu now might transition to some High Templar. Gonna run his Dragoons back, just get on that ramp. Observer gonna get in there. Bisu, only 2 DTs fighting around. They're gonna go down very quickly. Gonna take 1 Dragoon. Actually, no, gonna run back home. Smart move here from Bisu. Gets this spotted out, so he now has to play a more standard game, get his expansion going. Unfortunate for him, didn't get that harass, but still, try to go maybe for some DT drops. Try to utilize those DTs, make sure the observers don't fall all around, not getting the trap. Gonna have to run back across the bridges, so at the very least, he keeps them alive, so they might still become useful later in the game. His expansion is in bad position, though. Has High Templars out there, using cannons back home to defend, but he still has, access to Templar tech, so still storms and those DTs used in nice creative ways, which we know Bisu can do, can still pretty much give Bisu the game, because I wouldn't count him out at this point still.
Yeah, but this has just been a brilliant game from Stats so far. It was starting off with that head game switch, going straight into his expansion, and that block just to make sure he knew if Dark Templar were coming. He blocked it with units, so Bisu would have to attack a unit to get through. And that was just a brilliant, brilliant switch. You can tell that he's thought this game out, maybe from start to finish. He might do something else unusual soon, but Bisu's still devoting himself to that Templar tech. Like you said, he does have High Templar at the front to storm, has a couple of cannons there too, in case Stats feels a little bit too cavalier and tries to break through. Bisu is preparing for that. Already has quite a few Dragoons out as well. Does have his High Templar, probably has Storm prepared already, but Stats is expanding again at the 2 o'clock position. So even if Bisu defends against this, he's still going to be a base behind Stats. So Stats going to try to get as much damage as he can, but decides to back off because too many cannons at the front. And too many units now for Bisu. Putting down his own Templar archives just to get out some High Templar. Now we're going to see big High Templar battles. There was 1 storm from Bisu. He's doing a pretty good job whittling down the Dragoon army, and I think he will hold his front for the time being, especially considering he has cannons there too, so I think he's going to be okay. But the 2 o'clock base, that is the big factor in this game now. If Stats gets that up uncontested, if there is no harassment from Bisu soon, like High Templar harassment, Bisu is just going to be out macroed, and that's kind of weird to say. Bisu is going to be out macroed because Bisu is usually always ahead as far as macro goes.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to think about this. Also, one DT towards that upper right hand in the next minute is gonna take care of that thing. It's gonna take care of that position. But macro-wise, Stats is definitely ahead, getting that new expo up. Bisu has unfortunately been forced to use resources all across the board. Now he's going to have to get observers out there as well. He doesn't have much in the way of army. Has had to get some high Templars out there. And his Storm's really smart. Stats played beautifully by splitting his Dragoons in lines so that a Storm would at most only hit 2 Goons. Then he just kind of split them apart when he had the time. So he's been playing damn well. Now getting his 5th and 6th gateways up to Bisu's 4th at the moment. He should be adding in soon enough. But Bisu still, macro-wise, going to be in a bad position. So really, Stats utilizing this map ball, going to have a double gas at the upper right hand if he wants to utilize that later. Go for some really high-tech stuff, a lot of high Templar in there. I mean, Bisu really has to do economic damage, heavy amounts of economic damage. Shut down that upper right hand, do some more, fight back at home. And unfortunately for him, I'm not quite sure if he has the troops to spare because he has to keep stuff back home to defend because it's vulnerable. And we did see robotic support be out there. Although going for Archons, interestingly enough. Going for Archons straight up. So he's just going to get a full ground army. Just bulldoze Bisu, maybe hoping for that. Seeing ILOV looking significantly worried as he stares at the screen. Bisu has DT milling around. Still don't know if he spotted that upper right hand. But still, it's looking worse and worse for Bisu the longer the game goes on right now.
You said it, though. Bisu needs to get that economic harassment. If he doesn't get economic harassment, he's going to lose the game. It's pretty much as simple as that. But knowing Bisu, he does some good storm drops, so he's probably planning on doing that soon. But he's going to have to wait until he has a few more units out to protect his front, because that front is very vulnerable, even though there are cannons there. Stats has enough troops right now to break it if Bisu doesn't have enough units there to help out the cannons. But let's see if Bisu does get a shuttle out, goes for the high Templar drops, do some storm damage. That could definitely work out great at that natural expansion from Stats, since there's a big ridge over there. He can drop high Templar. But Bisu is going up right now with his observer. He's going to try to keep an eye on Stats' army that is just flowing around the map, working its way from the natural to the 2 o'clock and back, making sure that if Bisu attacks, he's going to be ready for it whenever it occurs. And he's trying to hold the high ground as well. But now Stats has the map control, and that's going to be the most important thing, because, as I was talking about earlier, if you get caught on that bridge, it's the person in the middle who's going to win. So let's see if Stats is going to hang around the bridge. It looks like he is, just hanging around the bridge right now. He might be trying to cross the bridge with Bisu on the other side. That could be a little bit suicidal, because he'd be funneling himself into doom. But yes, he's just hanging around the middle, looking for the opportunity to just destroy all of Bisu's units, saying, Bisu, I have way more units than you, so if you even try to move out, I'm going to destroy you. And taking another base at the 12 o'clock, oh man.
Yeah, Bisu is picking up the 6 o'clock position for himself, but he's mostly Goons and High Templar. Has weapons 1, so that's going to be a bit of a help. But right now it's very important to take the bridge, because also a big factor, storms across bridges. You get those forces across the bridge, especially heavy zealots, stuff like that. You can just storm on top of them, make sure they just get snuffed out instantly. And Bisu really just milling around during the south side, knows he has to play defense right now, hoping to maybe try to get an assault force out to do some harassment. But you can kind of tell he's a little bit worried about the location. My lord, look at those pylons and cannons and stuff with the 12 position just coming up with Stats. Shiny indeed. Shiny McShinerson. No, wait, that's another guy.
Yeah, that's Shiny.
But still, really, Bisu, I don't know, maybe try to expand towards the lower left end. Zealot just running around. Gonna get a spot on that upper right. And there's a pylon, clutch pylon there from Stats, gonna blockade. So Bisu's gonna be like, is there a base? Is there a base? Spots the pylon. It's just gonna block off. Back off, probably going to assume there's a base at that position, but still, it's just kind of in a hold position here. Bisu knows he doesn't really want to engage. Look at that mass of Zealots, Archons. So if Stats even comes close to Bisu, he's going to find all his Dragoons going bye-bye.
Yep, Stats is positioning himself for an attack, it seems. Bisu does have the high ground, so Bisu should edge forward right now, hold that high ground, and which would give him an advantage, but looks like he's backing off, letting Stats take the high ground. It looks like we're going to see a huge battle on the high ground. Storms from both players, huge amount of storms now. I think Bisu is being melted by these storms, though. Oh, wow, Stats got much better storms in that engagement, so it looks like even though he has these Zealots at the front, that is going to be his advantage here, forcing Bisu back. Bisu ran out of Zealots at the front. He's not going to have that melee muscle to help himself out, so he's trying to storm the Zealots, as you can see, but can't get in a good enough position. Bisu holding the best he can, but now the Archons are coming into play, going to help splash those Dragoons. And now Bisu holding as best he can, but the reinforcements on the way for Stats. It looks like Stats is about to beat Bisu. Can you believe it? Oh, man. GG.
Aggressive caps lock GG. Oh, it's defending champions 0-2 down. Not looking good for T1.
Yikes.
And Stats bringing out a, what was that, a whoopee cushion or plastic something.
I don't think whoopee cushions do that. No.
Yeah, just I thought for a second until he broke it with his foot. But Stats bringing a huge clutch win, taking Bisu out of the picture, because generally you think, hey, Bisu's playing, if it's not a Terran he's playing against, it's a guaranteed win. So Stats gonna definitely get a big thumbs up from everybody. This is great from a KT team where Flash is now kind of inconsistent. So T1 really needed a win from all of his major players, and it looks like they're not bringing it today. So yeah, guys, GG.
Let's move on.
Set 3 next.